Regular physical exercise has the same effect on our psychological well-being as our most powerful psychiatric medication. In fact, it works in the same way, dealing with depression and dealing with anxiety. Regular physical exercise releases norepinephrine, serotonin, dopamine. These are the feel-good chemicals in the brain. Works in the exact same way as our most powerful medication. It's very important for children's mental health. One of the reasons why there is much more ADD and ADHD today is because children exercise less. They're less active. They're playing video games. They're on the screen more of the time. We need to get them out. We need to get them to play, to do sports, to move. This will not just affect their physical health in terms of fighting diabetes, in terms of fighting cancer, in terms of fighting heart problems later on in life. This will also make them more productive, more creative, better students in school. In the workplace as well, regular physical exercise, which means at least 3 times a week for 30 minutes each time, at least. And exercise can be swimming, it can be jogging, it can be walking, it can be football, whether it's on the beach or whether it's in your neighborhood. Regularly, remember, small changes can make a big difference if practiced consistently. You become more productive. Teamwork improves as a result of physical exercise. Also with aging, as people get older, exercise becomes even more important. John Ratey, Harvard Medical School professor, did research on sports and the elderly. And here is what he found. Regular physical exercise, even if we start it later on in life, reduces the likelihood of Alzheimer, of dementia. One of the best ways to increase happiness levels, to improve relationships, one of the best ways to improve physical health is through giving. You know, my mother tongue, my first language is not English. English is my second language. My first language is Hebrew, the language of the Bible, of the Old Testament. My favorite word in Hebrew is the word to give. It's a biblical word. The word to give in the Bible is the word Natan. You know the name Nathan? Nathan in Hebrew is Natan. This is how you spell it in Hebrew and in Roman letters. Natan, to give. Do you notice anything unusual about this word? Anything unique about this word? Exactly, it's a palindrome. It's symmetrical. It reads the same right to left as it does left to right. This is not a coincidence. There's a lot of wisdom in the language of the Bible. And already then, it was known that when we give, Natan, I'm given right back, Natan. Today we have the research to show the wisdom of this word, of this idea. And this is how we cultivate healthy, happy relationships. Now, how long does it take to express gratitude? 1 minute, 2 minutes each night before going to bed? Or doing it as a family? We do it as a family on a regular basis, where each one, children and adults, say what they're grateful for in their lives. I recommend doing so around the table as a family, at least once a week. It can go a long way in terms of generating happiness as well as health, as well as improving relationships at home. You know, stress is a huge issue. It's a huge issue around the world. For example, in the United States, just north of here, not far, 94% of university students, that's age 18 to 22, experience stress and are overwhelmed by everything that they have to do. 94%. I don't know what the other 6% are doing, but they're not stressed. Mexico, And I know what's going on. I know the research in Mexico very fast catching up with the United States when it comes to stress among the young generation and the older generation. Stress levels are skyrocketing. More and more doctors are talking about stress being the silent killer. Why are so many more people stressed today than they were in the past? The main reason is because we have so many more things to juggle, because we're on all the time, and we pay a price for it. Stress levels are skyrocketing, which is why I hope that by the end of this presentation, you will all be a lot calmer. So what do we do about the rising stress levels? So my colleagues and I have been researching stress for decades. And what we found was actually very interesting. What we found was that while looking at stress, we have been looking in the wrong place. In fact, we found that stress is not the problem. In fact, we found that stress potentially is good for you. Think about the following analogy. So you go to the gym and you lift weights. What are you doing to your muscles when you lift weights? Stress, right. Now, is that a problem? No. Because you go to the gym and you lift weights, and 2 minutes later you lift the same weights, and then after 2 days you go back to the gym and you lift more weights, and 2 days after that you go back to the gym, more weights, and on, and you work for 6 months, a year, and after 2 years of hard work in the gym, you begin to look like me. Well, more or less, I hope a little bit more. So, not good. It's good for you. When do the problems begin? The problems begin when you go to the gym and you lift weights, and a minute later you lift more weights, and a day after even more weights. That's when the problems begin. That's when you get injured. That's when you get weaker rather than stronger. The problem, therefore, is not the stress. Stress potentially is good for us. The problem, rather, is the lack of recovery.